Hello, everyone, and welcome to Just Say No podcast. I'm Kelly Winters. I use she, her, hers pronouns, and I'm here today with my amazing co-host.
Hello, everyone. I am Coach Kayla Wynn, aka Kayla Winters. I utilize she, her, hers pronouns, and we are so excited that you guys are back with us again as we are going to be using today's platform to dive into our amazing guest today, Tia Truss, and getting into her journey of going through abuse and rejecting, seeking, and changing, which is so beautiful.
It is. Along with that, we feel it's super important to take some time to acknowledge the privilege that we hold. As we move forward, neither of us want to cause any harm with our podcast as we explore a range of topics. Kayla and I are both white women born in America, come from a middle-class, single-family home. We both have a college education, are in heteronormative relationships, utilize cisgendered pronouns, and are both able-bodied and neurotypical.
Thank you so much, Kelly, for going over that privilege statement. It is very important to us. So thanks for holding space.
Of course.
We also wanted to acknowledge the stolen Native American lands that we are recording this podcast on today. So Kelly and I are located in the Orange County area, and those Native American tribes include the Tongva, Juanino, and Louisiano Native American tribes. We also wanted to hold a moment of silence for all the lives that have been lost in Ukraine. So we're going to take a moment here to do that.
Thank you, Kayla, for that acknowledgement. We have some resources shared in the description of this episode for ways to help the people of Ukraine. And as well, before we get started, we want to share a trigger warning for abuse.
Thank you, Kelly. All right, we're jumping into our special guest. Yeah. Welcome to Just Say No podcast. And of course, we want to do you justice by providing you a beautiful introduction. So Tia Truss is a life coach on a mission to provide transformational support to motivated women who desire healthy relationships, to be seen, heard, and valued, and to live a joy-filled life after surviving abuse. Throughout Tia's life, she's been exposed to and experienced various types of abuse. Therefore, she created Phoenix Nest Coaching to support women in their transformation from surviving to thriving. Welcome, Tia.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're so excited to have you.
We're so excited.
And I'm excited.
So just to get into this, I guess we'll just started. We're so excited to have you here, of course. And as you know, Just Say No focuses on the idea of rejecting, seeking, and changing. When was there a time in your life when you had to just say no to something?
Just say no to something. I think there's something I'm just saying no to regularly, right?
Right.
But the biggest thing is that I have been rejecting and just saying no to is just surviving. So as you all said in my introduction, I have been exposed to and have experienced various types of abuse throughout my life. And so the biggest thing has been just rejecting this and saying no to that. Surviving is all that I'm going to do for the rest of my life, and just be existing and be unsatisfied and miserable and overwhelmed and burnt out and prioritize everyone else over myself. So really just surviving, thinking that is all that life has to be.
Beautiful. And I think a lot of people do get stuck in that, especially when you're in that survival mode. It's so hard to see that there's another option. And I think that you're just such a beautiful testament that there is, and you coach people through that, which is amazing. Can you tell us a little bit more about this process of rejecting? What brought you to this place where you were like, I will not accept this?
Right. It got to this point of severe overwhelm for me. A few years ago, it was me, like I was saying, prioritizing everyone's needs over mine. I had worked multiple toxic work in multiple toxic work environments. Just want to pause for that. And having experienced that, and then was still allowing abuse to appear in my life. So not necessarily any longer any like relationships where it entailed those different types of abuse, but allowed people who would use me and exploit me because I still had not resolved all of those things. And I hadn't furthered myself on that journey and realized that my trauma experiences were still guiding and dictating how I did life, right? So the process was when I had to stop. I had to say, today I can't do anything else. I can't take another moment of toxicness. I can't take anybody else taking anything from me, needing anything from me. I need better. And as a believer, that was the first thing I tapped into. So I was in my faith and I was like, God, as your child, you said I'm supposed to have the desires of my heart. I work so hard and believe for everyone around me. However, I wasn't believing it for myself. So I could see greatness and everybody's supposed to around me is having better, but I just couldn't see it for myself. I just thought this was it. And then I had to have some conversations with myself and acknowledge, Tia, this is some of your own doing. Like these are there's some things that you've learned, but now you got to take some time to process and not neglect yourself and really think about how the past is presenting itself today. Slow down and then start doing things that are going to nourish and nurture you. What do you want? Asking myself those questions. What do I want? And at that time, all I wanted was joy. That's why a big part of what I do and what I talk about is about joy. And I know sometimes this term is just so big that it seems like it's impossible for anyone to be able to get joy. So I was on a mission. I was like, what is it that I need to do? And at that time, I had so many responsibilities. I couldn't identify time. Well, how am I going to tap into joy? How am I going to find joy if I can't even find a moment between all of my obligations from supporting and homeschooling my niece, from working a full-time job, then trying to think about what is my next in my future, because I knew from my toxic work environment, I could not continue with that. I knew, I was like, this has to end because my mental health is deteriorating. My overall health is deteriorating. So I knew something drastic had to happen. And so then the next steps was I realized one small thing the one thing that could help me in that moment was to really start taking some time to do something that I really desired to really connect with myself before anyone wakes up in the morning and needs their TT, needs their sister, needs their friend. I just wanted to tap into some time by myself so I could think about myself. And that's where I talk about I would start going outside and with my cup of coffee and really express gratitude and get connected with nature, hear the birds, feel the air on my face, things like that. Because those things I recognized were something that resonated with me from seeing my grandmother do that in Mississippi when I was growing up. She would just come outside before she started her day, make her cup of coffee, and come sit on her front porch and relax in her rocking chair before jolting into the day and doing all the things that the day expects of us. And so that was the thing that was important to me. But I think for anyone else, that could be anything. What really is something that is joyful, that brings you joy and doesn't have to take long, that has quick impact? I was even thinking, I see folks dancing. If you just love to dance, if you love to sing, find that time to do that. That is going to be the beginning of you really tapping into that joy and starting to transition from surviving, the survival mindset, And as you start tapping into joy, you're going to want to continue and begin to expand it, because as you get to enjoy that, you're going to want it more and more.
Absolutely.
I think it's so powerful too that you took that time to ask yourself those hard questions, right? Because that's where the journey really starts, is with yourself. And it can be so hard. I'm sure, I mean, I know Kayla and I have also gone through those moments, but it just shows like how powerful you are for stepping aside and being like, no, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm going after, and it's for myself. And I think that that's amazing.
Yeah, I was going to mention too, I feel like the first real step besides making those 5 minutes is deciding that you deserve it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That you deserve it, period. It's like Kelly mentioned too, like having that hard conversation. Like, I don't like what's happening, and like, this is shitty, but I deserve better. I want better. I deserve it. I deserve, doesn't matter what your situation is, you deserve it.
100%.
Yeah, you deserve, and that I think that's the biggest thing that really stood out to me, is like that moment that you took with yourself, like, I deserve this. I deserve these 5 minutes, even if it's only 5 minutes out of my day and everything that I do, I deserve it, period. And like you said, Tia, from there you're gonna want more.
Yeah.
It's a really like nice transition to go from like that place of like, I don't deserve it and I have to serve everyone else, to I do. And I get to serve myself now.
And then the other
That's
thing
beautiful.
I want people even to think about, because I know it's a very hard thing I'm telling you, that 5 minutes to identify was a very hard thing. But the thing I want to say to folks, just like if we want something, we really want something, we will do whatever it takes to get it.
Mm-hmm.
So if we really want this job, we will do all the background research. We're going to do the application, all they ask us for. Just like that. If you want peace, love, joy, healthy relationships, you got to do what is necessary for those things to happen in your life. And you are capable of it.
Yes.
So you saying like, how am I going to fit in the time? You're going to be capable of organizing your calendar and your schedule to where you can find some moments. I don't care when it is. It could be in the middle of the day at your lunchtime at work. Take a walk. Before we were working from home, and I was still working my professional job, I made sure at my lunchtime I did something for me, because the type of work I did, I needed to take time away from my own mental well-being and things like that. So I would take a walk, play my music. Sometimes I would meet friends for lunch. I couldn't do that all the time. Sometimes I just need to listen to music and be to myself. Woosah, express gratitude, because that's the other component of when I was taking my 5 minutes, is that I had to be connected to what I am grateful for. See the things that are going well in my life. You have to get a mindset of gratitude to definitely make that shift, and it definitely to make that shift to joy. Right. But you really got to come from a grateful, positive space that, like, okay, I know some things suck. That level of suck. I mean, there was some stuff that was sucking in my life. Okay. But
right. Absolutely.
From that place of suck to like, actually, because even in that time I had to say, it sucks, but I can be grateful that I'm alive. As I'm alive, I have a new opportunity to do things over again. I have a new opportunity to make choices that align with the future that I desire.
That's so powerful.
Absolutely.
Because most of the time we got to slow down. That's the other thing. We got to slow down. So when we're expressing gratitude, because I find this a lot with my coaching clients and people just in my life. And even with myself in the beginning, I couldn't get grateful. I couldn't. I was like, I'm alive. Yeah, I'm alive. But I didn't slow down. So when you say I'm alive and you inhale and exhale, and you think about so many people who lost their lives to COVID or everything else, and now there's wars and all of these things going on. There's so much happening. telling you yesterday, I just found out about 2 people who passed that I know, like from different things. Like it's so much. So to sit with and say, I'm alive and I have a new opportunity to fight for what I truly desire, for the life that I truly desire, with deep and meaningful relationships, with joy, with peace, to show love and kindness to people around me, to people who get to hear my voice, people who get connected to me through podcasts like this, that I have a home.
Absolutely.
I have a home. Especially, it's many places you can walk around in so much homelessness.
Yeah.
I even have a home. Hey, it might not be next month I have a home, but this month I got one.
Right. In this moment.
Most folks living paycheck to paycheck. So then to sit with that, I have a home right now. I can go downstairs and I can make food. I have food. I got love. I have family with me. So when I slow down and start with those spaces of gratitude, then things start to shift.
I love that. So you went through this time of walking away from like toxic relationships and abuse, along with like your practices of finding joy through like waking up, having your coffee like your grandmother. What other practices did you do to help you find that joy?
I also made some serious decisions about what my future was going to look like. So part of it, as I just said, it was like I knew I couldn't continue on with that job.
Right.
So I had to start identifying, what did I really want? So a part of that question was, what did I really want? So after praying, as I indicated, I'm a believer, I was praying for a while and was like, God, please tell me what's next. Because as I'm your child, me and you both know this can't continue. So really figuring out what is next, what did I really desire? And that's really when life coaching came about. So when in the journey to becoming a life coach, I decided I was going to be going to school. Because I knew I had the skills. Everybody in my life, when I told them that it was going to be life coaching, they were like, yeah, you've been doing that all your life. You just weren't being officially called life coach, but everyone around you has been life coached by you, right? Because everybody, as a very strong person, I'm a very strong person. I can hear a lot of stuff. People can provide me, with their most vulnerable moments and share that information with me, and I can give them feedback. I always can play devil's advocate, like, okay, did you consider this position? Did you consider that? Did you consider that this person may have that perspective? Is that how you intended to show up? And so when I started going to school, when you're going to school for life coaching, you are your first client. So then I'm doing even more internal work on my journey. And so that just provided even more breakthrough. It even opened me up to more self-care practices. So now that I started my 5 minutes, I'm telling you, it just starts to grow. You like, okay, I got to do more and I got to expand this. So I started trying meditation. I never thought I could do meditation ever in my entire life because I think all the time, but I needed the meditation. So it was also this position of being open. So I needed the meditation now just to get to this peaceful place, to stop my mind from running all the time, planning the next and stuff like that, and getting to a place where I could be present. Ooh, just somebody saying to me, okay, be present.
It's like, excuse me?
Like, what is that?
I don't know. In the day, right? It was like, how? I'm just like, I'm surviving.
What? They said we always got to be thinking about the next plan for the next. We can't really enjoy any moment. And I realized that was another part of me missing the life that I had. I couldn't be grateful for the life because I wasn't present for none of it.
Present. Yeah. Yeah.
None of it.
You speaking some truth, Tia.
Yes.
So this huge part of slowing down to be present, to enjoy, to diversify the ways in which I provide self-care, not just going to get my nails done, my hair cut, my eyebrows arched, getting fly. I do enjoy that. Okay. So, but that can't be it. Got to expand.
There's more to it.
Your self-care has to include some internal stuff.
Yep.
Getting
Definitely
closer,
hard stuff.
some real understanding about you. And those were the other things. So it was me doing my coaching program, which had me go through a lot of things, to think about a lot of things, to be present, to try meditation. And this time it worked differently. I found myself on a trip in Arizona doing some marketing for my business, and I was in the pool swimming, and then I'm in there just meditating, and everybody calling me. I don't even hear them. I'm that checked out because I'm that in tune. That blew me away, because also my trauma wouldn't allow me to check out either. Mm-hmm. My trauma always said, you need to be alert. You need to be paying attention because somebody's trying to hurt you. But I also had to come to this position and say, I'm not in those spaces now. I am safe. Yep. Mm-hmm. So I had to acknowledge that I am safe now. So I can take care of me. I don't have to be on guard to protect everyone around me all the time. Every space we're in, even the pool that day, no, I don't need to be on guard. We are okay. We are safe. Mm-hmm. I can enjoy this. Right? Yes. So sometimes when we just surviving and had all of this trauma experience, then it's so hard to just even imagine enjoying, because we feel like we always have to protect our safety, and that somebody is always trying to come in to violate us in some way.
Right. Absolutely. One thing that's really standing out to me through all of this and hearing you speak is, at the end of the day, no matter what our situation is, we always have a chance to choose.
Yeah.
No matter how bad it is, no matter what your situation is, you have that opportunity to choose.
Right.
So, remember that. If you're listening to this, you get that opportunity to choose. Are you going to choose to sit and feel? You have every right to feel, but to continue to let yourself be in this replaying state of I'm not safe, I gotta run, or I'm choosing to feel safe. I'm choosing to feel through this hurt. I'm choosing me. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, that's what I really hear through your story, Tia, is that shift of choosing, where you got to choose all these things for yourself, not just going with the flow and what's expected and all these things that we put on ourselves at society, whatever the situation is, right? You really chose different. You chose you, which I think is just,
it's so powerful.
Beautiful.
And I would say chose some things and acknowledged others. So I had to acknowledge that now I'm safe. Some folks may not still be safe. So I had to acknowledge now I am safe.
Right.
And been safe for a while. I have been safe for many years, right? Been so removed from those abusive experiences. So just sometimes we got to slow down, but that's the beauty in what the slow down allows. I am. I'm safe. So I can operate from that mindset and not on guard, because I'm busy to the point that I don't even realize that I'm safe. I made it. I did survive it. I did survive that, right? And I made it out.
Absolutely.
And the choices that I'm going to make in the future I'm going to be intentional, so that I am well, so that I I can recognize someone who could come into my life and is not what I desire, that could be toxic, that possibly is toxic. I can pay attention to those traits that do not resonate with a healthy, supportive, loving relationship. And I'm talking about as a partner, intimate partner, or friendships, or family members. You all know it's the range. I'm not talking about relationships.
Oh yeah.
No,
all of it.
It's everything. It all plays in, really. Yeah. And all the people that you surround yourself with play such a huge role. Doesn't matter if they're intimate or a coworker or whatever. It all influences us. And so our ability, again, to choose how much we allow them to have that control, I feel like is huge. And to hit a place where you can like see that actively and act on that, I think is just incredible. So I love seeing you thrive, Tia. I really do. It's amazing.
To thrive. What?
Yeah,
because I mean, absolutely. A few years ago, couldn't even fathom this. So I know some folks may be listening and watching this podcast and can't even fathom it. But all I want to do is encourage you to make these small choices. Who would have thought 5 minutes of coffee in the backyard would have shifted to a business owner walking away from her job, out here winning, loving herself, loving her life.
As she should.
Enjoying it, like doing whatever she wants, has the flexibility, like, oh my gosh. It's just those little things. And that's the thing, the beauty in life coaching is that it helps us break down what are those little things that we need to do that is going to have this big impact in the end.
Absolutely.
What are those little things? So really asking ourselves, the question I always like to say, what will nourish your soul? Today, what can you do to nourish your soul? Because when you start taking care of you and nourishing your soul and loving on you, some stuff is going to come up. You're going to have to address it, the good and the bad. You're going to have to acknowledge some stuff with you to be like, golly. I ain't want to deal with that. But hey, today's the day that I got to deal with it. This month, I'm going to have to deal with it. I can't put it off any longer because this is impacting me getting to the outcome I desire. This is impacting me getting to joy. This is impacting me getting to peace. This is impacting me getting to healthy relationships. This is impacting my ability to be seen, heard, and feel valued. This is impacting my ability to be present.
Absolutely. We're gonna let a pause here for a minute just to feel that.
Just to feel that, I know.
What is impacting you? What is it? I want to ask you, Tia, to have you just explore a little bit more of what is joy. So to me, that's been the big change for you, really, through all of this journey, is that joy, and also thriving, of course.
Right.
But what is joy to you, and how do you help clients reach that? Or what is it that they achieve when they hit joy?
Right. They hit joy or whatever it is that they desire. So it can be different for the client. So I can also want to point out that was the thing for me at the beginning. That's the thing that I wanted. And I knew that when getting there, it would make a huge shift for me. So that was the thing that I clearly knew joy was what I wanted. I was like, I don't want to be happy. Happy is temporary. They said joy is long. Like I want the long, like they say, rich is temporary. I don't want rich. I want wealth. I want that long lasting thing. And so joy to me is the ultimate gratitude. So you see how that came back. And I think all of that other stuff, a lot of stuff is going to come back to, am I grateful? Am I grateful for where I am today? Am I grateful for any conversations, whether beautiful, enjoyable, positive conversations or the challenged ones? I'm even grateful for the challenging conversations that I get to have. So it's really this ultimate gratitude. So like really just being grateful, like the emotions that are so attached to me thinking about joy and how grateful I am for how far I've come. For so many years, the people around me even acknowledged, like, they were like, girl, you are amazing. Understanding my full true story. Like knowing where you came from, Tia Truss, to where you are, what you've overcome without having a whole lot of access to stuff. Now I can sit here in front of you all as a business owner and a life coach and like, oh my gosh, she is dope. And she is so grateful for
Yes, she is.
So everything she has, everything she is to people, everything she experiences, because I'm just so grateful for what it has brought me to. If it took those things to get me to this space, because sometimes we have to hit bottom, right? Sometimes we got to hit bottom so we can really acknowledge the fight to winning. Like, so my hitting bottom was like, I don't want to just survive any longer. I really want to thrive. I want to have joy. Like, this sucks bad. And I can't continue to just operate and suck in bad, right? So
totally.
I want more. And to get to that ultimate gratitude, it just took me putting practice every day. So anything you want to be a great singer, you want to be a great athlete, you want to be a great friend. All of these things take practice. You want to be a great lover of yourself. All of that takes practice. So the ultimate gratitude in practicing self-love and practicing gratitude, because at first, it's not like you become really actually grateful in a day. You right. Gotta practice.
It's a practice.
Right. Yeah. Right. So really, instituting those things that I would do in the morning before people could talk to me of being grateful, and then expanding to this place where I can see myself so positively, even when I'm tired, because y'all, joy, you got to maintain it. Okay, it doesn't just stay. Like, it can fall off if you allow it to fall off, if you stop practicing. So just because you are good at sports, well, it's not going to always be that you're going to awesome at sports if you don't maintain practicing. So in joy and everything, you have to maintain the practice. So this ultimate gratitude. So just keep striving, asking each other what's going well. Instead of how are you doing, ask what's going well. So we can shift how we think about it. Because when you're talking about how are you doing, if I say Kayla or Kelly, how are you doing? Normally we can be like, oh, fine, or we give some surface level answer. But when we shift in what's going well, it brings in this space of, there's probably something going well. Let me shift my mindset and actually think about it. Let me tap into that grateful space. So I encourage anybody, for any outcome that you want, gratitude has got to be a part of it.
Absolutely.
I totally agree.
One of my favorite, you've provided so much for our listeners. So thank you. Yeah. So many action steps to take, whether it's just slowing down, whether it's gratitude, whether it's acknowledging that you get to choose, whether, the list goes on, Tia. Thank you. I feel so lucky to have been able to hear your story and all these little, nuggets that you've provided us today. How can our listeners get in touch with you? How can they, do you have anything that they can work with you, or how can they get in touch with you?
Yes. So I can be reached on my website, which is phoenixnestcoach.com, and folks can schedule a session. I provide a complimentary session to all of my first time folks, potential clients who are interested in understanding what life coaching is. Because really, before I was a life coach, I didn't fully even know what life coaching had to offer. So I offered that session so that folks can experience life coaching. And then if they've experienced life coaching before, they could experience life coaching with Tia. Because it's different.
I love that.
Each coach has their own thing that works for them. And so you need to identify, just like a therapist, you need to identify someone that you can trust, because it's important that you show up honest. Even if something didn't happen within the work that you were supposed to do in between sessions, you need to show up honest and say, Tia, I didn't do that. And I'm going to say, okay. Is it because it didn't work? It was because it was overwhelming. What was the holdback? Is it because you were self-sabotaging? Is it those old coping strategies that get in the way? So as a life coach, you really are to call out things to folks' awareness, because a huge part is once folks are aware of stuff, it's harder for them to go back to the old ways. A lot of times we are muffling through life haphazardly, not really sure why we're doing things, how we're getting in our own ways and things like that. So a huge thing that you'll get in coaching is awareness, and then that accountability. Somebody is there regularly to hold you accountable for what you just say you desire, and make sure you're making decisions that get you in alignment with really the outcome that you desire. I can also be reached on the Instagram.
Yes.
Heck yes, she can.
And on the Instagram, my handle is at Phoenix Nest Coach. Yeah, at Phoenix Nest Coach. You know, I'm new to the social media stuff, so I'm not as
and we'll make sure to share everything in the description for you guys, so that way you have everything that you need to get a hold of Tia. Yeah, because she's amazing. Definitely connect with her. Follow her on Instagram. I know she has a YouTube channel. Check out her website. That's absolutely beautiful. I know she has affirmations, a downloadable for affirmations on her website as well. So definitely check that out. Tia, is there any final word that you want to leave us with today?
The final word is going to connect with my tagline for my business. As you've heard me say on this podcast today, is that I help people transform their lives from surviving to thriving. The first thing I want everyone listening to know is that thriving is possible. Whatever it is that you desire, it is possible. All it takes is you making small choices on a daily basis that are going to align you to actually accomplish that. And I support folks in getting to their thriving, not my thriving. So I want you to have joy. I want you to thrive, but I want you to also have exactly whatever it is that you desire. And so whether that's healthy relationships, beautiful careers, to just be thriving, to winning, to feel seen and heard, to have healthy communication style, whatever it is, I can support you in that.
Goosebumps.
I love it.
Thank you, Tia.
Yes. Thank you so much for being here.
Again, all the nuggets, all the inspiration, all of the empowerment really that you're sharing, that anything that you desire is possible. It's just a matter of giving it that chance. And it does take a lot of steps of setting yourself up for success. You know, like Tia said, it doesn't happen overnight as much as we wish. We always joke around about giving each other that special pill to choke down, but it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist, unfortunately. But again, we want to thank you so much for being here. It is so important for us to continue to enforce a safe space, giving ourselves grace, allowing ourselves to be present with these conversations surrounding change, these hard conversations, creating awareness. So if you just finished this podcast and listening to it, we really want to allow you to offer yourself time to truly reflect and even journal on this topic today, and give yourself that time to really soak that in, everything that's been said today. Self-compassion.
So should we give them a journal prompt then? Let's give them that.
Sure. You got it.
I love it.
What will nourish your soul. Period.
Boom.
I love it.
I hope you guys really, really take that one to heart, though. For real. Yes. Take that time and journal that. What will nourish your soul?
I know I will. I know after this conversation, I'm going to go sit down and journal for like 20 hours. Probably, I feel so empowered right now.
Absolutely.
This is fantastic. Well, thank you again, Tia, for being here. We are so happy that you're able to join us today and give all this information to our listeners.
Yay. And I'm so honored to be here with you two amazing ladies. And I really appreciate the opportunity, and I appreciate the listeners for taking the time to listen to this podcast, as it is an act of self-care.
It is.
Absolutely.
Nice. All right. Remember, you can find this pod oh my gosh, excuse me, I totally messed that up. You can find this pod on any podcast streaming services, even YouTube. We're going to start uploading these on YouTube, so check out our YouTube channel at Just Say No Podcast. Our episodes come out on the first and third Friday of every month. Thanks for listening, and in case you didn't catch it, just say no.
No. Girl.
Period.
We did it.